Why the SEC still rules. Everybody wants to declare the SEC era over. Every offseason, the same argument comes back. The Big Ten has more money. The playoff is expanding. Texas and Oklahoma changed the league. The transfer portal is spreading talent around. The ACC has brands. The Big 12 has chaos. Notre Dame is always lurking. And sure, college football looks more wide open than it did 10 years ago, but let's be honest. When the sport gets serious, the SEC still feels like the conference everybody else is chasing. Not because of hype, not because of slogans, not because fans chant three letters like it's a religion. The SEC still rules because the league is built for the version of football that wins when the season gets ugly. Line-of-scrimmage football, defensive speed, quarterback pressure, NFL bodies, brutal road environments. Coaches who are judged every Saturday like the world is ending. And rosters that don't just look good on paper, they punch you in the mouth in November. Welcome back to Gridiron Intel, where we break down recruiting, the transfer portal, playoff contenders, power shifts, and the future of college football. Today we're asking a simple question. Why does the SEC still rule? Let's get into it. The first reason is the trenches. College football has changed. Offenses are faster, quarterbacks are more protected, spacing matters more, the portal matters more, NIL matters more. But the sport still comes down to one brutal truth. Can you block? Can you get off blocks? That's where the SEC has lived for years. The league is loaded with defensive linemen who look like they were built in a lab. Edge rushers who run like tight ends. Interior linemen who collapse pockets before a quarterback can even finish his first read. Offensive tackles with NFL length. Guards who can move people off the ball when everybody in the stadium knows the run is coming. That's why SEC teams are built so difficult, and that's why they're so hard to trust. And so easy to trust at the same time when the playoffs start. Because playoff football is not 7-on-7. It's not a summer recruiting camp. It's not a highlight tape. It's grown man football. And in that version of the sport, the SEC is still the standard. You can scheme around weakness for a few weeks. You can hide a bad matchup against average teams. But when you play elite teams back-to-back, the line of scrimmage tells the truth. And the SEC usually has more truth than anybody else. The second reason is roster depth. It's easy to talk about stars, the five-star quarterback, the explosive receiver, the freshman phenom, the transfer portal headline. But depth is what separates a playoff team from a program that just had a good year. In the SEC, you don't just need a great starting 22. You need a second wave, and sometimes a third, because that league wears on you. The schedule is physical. The road games are hostile. The injuries pile up. The emotional weight is constant. A team can look great in September and then get dragged into the deep water by October. That is where SEC depth shows up. A starting linebacker goes down, and another 4-star steps in. A receiver leaves for the NFL, and the next guy is already waiting. A defensive lineman rotates out, and the backup is still a problem. All of that matters. Because championships are rarely won by the cleanest roster. They're won by the roster that survives the most damage. And the SEC is built around survival. The third reason is recruiting geography. This is the part nobody can copy. You can build facilities, you can hire coaches, spend NIL money, and even upgrade stadiums. But you cannot move your campus into the middle of the best recruiting footprint in America. The SEC lives on top of talent. Georgia, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, South Carolina. The league is surrounded by high school football factories. Speed everywhere, defensive backs everywhere, pass rushers everywhere, receivers, big bodies everywhere. And now that Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC orbit, the league has even more reach into one of the deepest recruiting states in the country. That is a massive advantage. Other conferences have elite programs. The SEC has an elite ecosystem. There is a difference. The Big Ten can absolutely recruit in the South. Notre Dame can recruit nationally. Oregon, USC can recruit nationally. But SEC teams wake up every day inside the fight. Their backyard is the battlefield. And when you control that much local talent, your floor stays high. Even in a so-called down year, the SEC rosters still look scary. The fourth reason is pressure. That might sound weird, but it matters. The SEC is not a patient league. Fans don't politely wait 5 years for a coach to figure it out. Athletic directors do not sell rebuilds forever. Boosters don't shrug off 8-4 like it's adorable. The SEC eats comfort. That pressure can be unhealthy. It can be ridiculous. It can burn coaches out, but it can also create urgency. Programs in the SEC are forced to chase every edge, recruit harder, spend more, upgrade staff, attack the portal. Fix the offensive line now. Find the quarterback now. Win the rivalry game now. That pressure keeps the league sharp. If you fall asleep in the SEC, somebody takes your spot. There's no soft middle class where a program can coast on brand name for a decade. You either evolve or you get exposed, and that's why the league keeps producing contenders. Not every SEC team is elite, but the pressure inside the league forces the best programs to keep behaving like the standard is national title or failure. That mindset matters. The fifth reason is the quarterback evolution. For a long time, people in the SEC was just defense and running backs. It was never the whole story. But now that is definitely outdated. The modern SEC has become a quarterback league too. Explosive passing games, NFL-style concepts, tempo, spread formations, deep receiver rooms. Offensive coordinators who aren't afraid to throw haymakers. The league still has the physicality, but now it also has the offensive firepower. And that is a nightmare combination. Because if an SEC team can push you around up front and still hit explosive plays over the top, what exactly are you supposed to do? Pack the box and you get burned. Play coverage and you get leaned on. Blitz and the quarterback finds an answer. Drop 8 and the offensive line starts moving you. That balance is what makes the SEC dangerous. The league didn't stay stuck in the past. It absorbed modern offense and kept the old physical edge. That's how you stay on top. The sixth reason is playoff translation. This is where the argument gets simple. The SEC style travels. Defense travels. Pass rush travels. Offensive line play travels. Explosive receivers travel. NFL depth travels. That's why the league has been so dangerous in postseason settings. The stadium changes, the weather changes, the opponent changes, but the physicality translates. A team built on gimmicks can look great until the opponent has 3 weeks to prepare. A team built on tempo can get slowed down. A team built on one superstar can get forced left-handed. But a team that can win up front, defend, run, throw, and rotate bodies, that team travels. That team survives. That team is hard to kill. And that is the SEC blueprint. And even when the league has questions, the blueprint still works. Now, does this mean the SEC is unbeatable? No, that would be lazy. The Big Ten is a monster. Oregon is building like a national power. Ohio State can match anybody talent for talent. Notre Dame can be physical. The Big 12 can create chaos. The ACC still has brands capable of making noise. The gap is not what it used to be. The sport is more national now. The portal has made roster building more flexible. NIL has changed the game. The expanded playoff gives more teams a path. But here is the difference. Other conferences have teams that can win the playoff. The SEC has multiple programs that believe they should. That's not the same thing. In the SEC, the playoff is not the dream. It's the expectation. Georgia expects to be there. Alabama expects to be there. Texas expects to be there. LSU expects to be dangerous. Ole Miss wants to crash the room. Tennessee wants to become real again. Texas A&M wants to finally turn resources into results. Oklahoma didn't join the league just to watch, and Florida's not trying to be irrelevant forever. That is the beast. The SEC is not just one team. It's a weekly pressure cooker of programs with money, talent, history, desperation, and ego. That combination is terrifying. So when people ask, does the SEC still rule? The answer is yes, but not because it owns college football the way it once did. The answer is yes, because the SEC is still the league that sets the physical standard. Still the league with the deepest recruiting footprint. Still the league where the trenches matter most. Still the league where programs live under championship pressure. The SEC is still the league whose teams feel built for the playoff, not just built for September. The sport is changing. The challenges are real. The gap is smaller. But until another conference consistently matches the SEC's depth, physicality, recruiting base, and postseason edge, the crown is not gone. It's just being challenged. And that might make the SEC even more dangerous, because nothing wakes up a monster faster than being told its run is over. Subscribe to Gridiron Intel for more college football recruiting, transfer portal conference power rankings, and college football playoff coverage. And drop a comment below. Is the SEC still the king of college football, or is another conference ready to take the crown? Thanks for watching.